Hi, and welcome back to my fortnightly vlog. So, this week I want to talk to you about recently I had a bit of a yucky day where I felt a bit low, and I really want to share with you what I did on that day, and importantly, also what I didn't do. Because I think one of the things that I really notice with an older version of me, with my clients, with friends, it's really easy when we have a difficult day for whatever reason, whether it is something that triggers that or actually just we happen to be feeling low and we're not really sure why. It's really easy to make something out of that, which enables it to kind of get traction and continue on. Now, I want to say that, of course, even though I'm a mindset coach, that doesn't mean that I am immune from having a difficult day. I do also, though, have tools and an awareness of what's happening in my mind, and therefore I can kind of recognize things. And the reason why I thought this would be really useful to share with you all is that by kind of walking you through the thought process that I had when I recognized that I was feeling lower than would be my norm, you might find something in there that you can utilize in your own life when you find yourself feeling something that just doesn't feel great, for example. So it was last weekend, which was Easter weekend, and I think it was Saturday. And I woke up and it was a little bit cold, quite windy, and whilst we definitely have worse weather, it just, I don't know, we'd had really nice weather for about a week, and I just felt a little bit like, this doesn't feel great. Anyway, fine, went out and walked the dogs as normal. As I was walking the dogs, I really noticed that I kind of, for me, I was feeling like a need to hibernate almost, or want to get kind of cozy, and that's a sign that I'm needing to rest, because I'm normally a very active person. I obviously have the horses at home. I ride most days. I walk the dogs. I do the horses myself. So I'm busy doing the yard jobs. And when the world allows, I'm off competing. So for me to kind of want to have a very quiet, hunkering on down day is a bit of a kind of flag that I'm feeling different to what would be the norm for me. So I recognised that, and it wasn't a huge surprise because I had been really busy. I had worked a couple of weekends, so I hadn't had the break that I would normally have. Those of you that haven't followed me for a while, it's important to say that I have really good boundaries around prioritising good quality sleep, and making sure that I exercise well and eating well as well. And we'll come on to talk about those things shortly. So I recognised that I was feeling like I just wanted to kind of hunker down for the day, and I got home, did my yard jobs, and basically did just that. I kind of allowed myself to have the day of just taking care of me. Now, I'm normally somebody that really likes to achieve a lot, and definitely past versions of me would have struggled with the whole kind of guilt of, you've got so many things to do, you could be doing stuff. But I recognised in that moment that what my body was telling me I needed, and my mind, if I'm honest, was to rest. So I was prepared to listen. So what rest looks like for me, I curled up on the sofa. I had one of my dogs and a cat for company, which is always nice, big cup of tea. And I watched old versions of badminton and Burley on Horse and Country TV, because one of the reasons I'm sure that I feel a little, or felt a little bit is because normally I'd be getting ready to watch badminton on the telly, and of course it's not going to happen this year, which I know is probably disappointing to a lot of you guys as well. So I thought, right, what is it that I can do? I took the pressure off myself to ride and said I might ride later in the day, I'll see how I feel. But there was no like, I have to do this. It was like whatever my body needed. The other thing that I didn't do is really kind of make a story about what me feeling a bit low meant. And what I mean by that is me 5 years ago, for example, might have seen it as the end of the world, like, oh, this is so rubbish, I thought I was past all of this. The truth is, it's the first kind of low day I'd had in, I don't even remember how long, months and months and months. And it's interesting to say that I record like my daily vibe on an evening, so I'll rate my vibe out of 10, and when I went back and looked, I hadn't been below like a 7.5 out of 10 for all of this year until this day when I rated it a 5. And I think I'll talk you through how it was a 5 and not lower because of some of the actions that I took. So whilst watching badminton and Burley, I also had some snacks, bits and pieces that I fancied, some not things that massively nourish my body, but things that I fancied, and I allowed myself to do that. Now, one of the other boundaries that I have is making sure that I have food that nourishes me. I made no story about the fact that I was eating things that I fancied that weren't brilliant for me. And I was able to do that, I believe, because lunch and dinner were nutritious. So I had broccoli soup for lunch, and I can't remember what we had for dinner, but something that I'd pre-prepared as part of my batch cooking, which those of you that have followed me for a while will know I'm a bit of a batch cooking maniac. So I was able to not have difficult stories around the fact that I was eating stuff that probably wasn't great for me as snacks, because the kind of foundation of what I was eating was the norm, and I knew that that would kind of carry me through in terms of nourishing my body. I made sure I drank plenty of water, and I just gave myself permission to have time out, which is really important because everybody's busy and it's very easy to feel like I haven't got time to do that. My view on that is that was an investment in my time, of, you know, good investment of my time, because I was listening to my body, I was giving myself space, just kind of going with the flow, which, to be honest, I'm not the most go with the flow person. So for me, that was really good. So there was no negative talk around that. It was just my body's telling me it needs to rest. What feels good to me? What would I like to do? And not to give myself any pressure of, I have to ride, I have to be productive, this is a waste of a day. Because to me, taking time out, giving my body what it needs is investment of time and not a waste of time. So that's where I came from that on. So I had a good few hours on the sofa, maybe slightly more, I can't remember. And towards the back end of the day, I think it was about 4:30, I felt good. I still was a little bit kind of flat, but I really appreciated the rest. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to go and take one of my dogs for a walk. Two of my dogs are a little bit old and can't walk too far, but I have a very eager 9-year-old border collie who would go for walks for 15 hours of a day if she could. So I thought, right, I'm going to take Daisy and I'm going to go out for a walk. And my husband decided he wanted to come too, and we went on a fairly decent walk, probably out for 50 minutes or so, maybe slightly longer actually. And it was really good. The weather was still good. It was still a bit chilly, but I wrapped up. And I am a sort of person that when I'm feeling kind of tired or a bit low, I feel the cold. Normally, I struggle in the heat, but if it's a reaction in my body, part of the feeling of wanting to hibernate is just, yeah, I need to feel kind of cozy. So I put my woolly hat on, put a gilet on, and off we went. And I just was allowing myself just to be free. I wasn't bothered about what was going on my phone, or even I didn't watch any news or anything. I just allowed myself to kind of take notice of what was going on in nature while I was out. And when I was in watching, I think it was Burley I watched on the Saturday, and I think I watched badminton on the Sunday, I just allowed myself that time just to immerse myself in that, because that's what I really wanted. And then later on, I had my dinner as normal. Oh, and in fact, one thing that I didn't say is after I finished watching Burley, I had a bit of a nap, like 20 minutes or something like that. Now, I do like my sleep, and I do prioritise it. Historically, I used to be a big napper on a weekend. That was before I'd prioritised my sleep, so probably going back 5 years ago now. So it was very rare that I would have a nap, but you know what? It felt good. So I allowed myself to do it, and I felt no guilt about it. And I still went to bed on the evening and slept without any difficulty at all, because I'd only napped for about 20 minutes. But again, my body obviously felt the need. It felt tired. It needed to recharge. So that was great. Had a nice evening, just chilled out. We were in lockdown here in France at the moment anyway, so going somewhere wasn't possible. I did consider taking Kiki out for a hack, but it was quite windy, and a day off isn't going to do her any harm. So I didn't allow kind of guilt to creep in on there. I woke up on Sunday morning and felt good, felt a lot better, felt well rested. Can't really remember what I did on Sunday, just kind of the normal type of Sunday stuff, didn't feel the need to hunker down. Importantly though, on Monday, which was a bank holiday, and I consciously chosen not to work all weekend, I woke up and I felt amazing. And I really do believe that it was the investment of that time on the Saturday of just going, what does my body need? What do I feel like? And not allowing the fact that I needed to rest to be about anything other than taking care of myself. You've probably seen me share a quote before, which is take time for your wellness, or you'll be forced to make time for your illness, or for illness. And I really believe in that. I haven't been ill for years, she says, touching wood. I just don't pick things up because I look after my body. But what's really important, and I refer back to an old version of me, I have referred back to an old version of me a few times in this vlog. Historically, I would have really struggled to have a day just for me, but I'm only living for me. So if I'm not doing it for me, who am I doing it for? If you're watching this and you've got children and you go, yeah, well, I've got to do things for my children. Put yourself first, because when you put yourself first, you can be the best person and the best version of yourself for those around you that you interact with, your children, your friends, your family, your partner, whatever it may be. I know that I probably wasn't the greatest fun to be around on Saturday, and my husband went and did his thing and I was having my quiet day, but come Sunday, I'm back to normal me or better. So just that day of allowing myself just to do whatever felt good to me really, really was a worthwhile investment. So importantly, yes, it was important what I did, which was took time out, listened to my body, rested and did what I wanted. The other really important thing was what I didn't do. I didn't feel guilty about it. I didn't make stories about the fact that I've ate snacky foods that I just fancied. I didn't allow it to become a sort of drain in the way that sometimes if you fixate on how you feel is. I just was. I didn't kind of have any, oh, why do I feel this way? This is terrible. I just allowed it to be. And you'll have probably heard me say in content before, when you allow things to be, they move past far quicker. There's a saying in the world of mindset, what you resist persists, which basically means what you try and stop carries on and usually comes back stronger. So just by allowing myself to just not feel great and just accepting that that was the case, I was able to give my body and my mind what it needed and then come back firing. So I wanted to share that because it is rare that I feel that way because of all the things that I do from a kind of looking after myself perspective day in, day out. And maybe I'll do a vlog on that in the future. But it doesn't mean that everything is perfect 100% of the time. The important thing, because actually nobody's life is, and I do genuinely believe that, you don't appreciate the ups if you don't have the downs. So on Monday morning, when I stepped out of bed and felt incredible, I appreciated it all the more because I could remember with recency that Saturday I'd felt really full. So it's not about how do I feel amazing every single moment of every day. It's about allowing yourself to feel what you feel and then doing what's right for you in the moment. I know because of the work that I do, it's not about me staying there and saying, I felt terrible for 3 weeks and therefore I sat on the sofa and ate pizza or whatever. But if I do want to sit on the sofa and eat pizza for an afternoon, then fine. But I get to choose, like with going for the walk with Daisy, it would have been easy for me not to go out and just to stay kind of hunkered down, but I'd enjoyed my rest and I really do believe that life is about balance. So when I felt rested, the weather was good, like I say, chilly but sunny, I was like, no, let's get out here. And that got me moving and got my blood pumping. But I didn't have the thought that earlier on in the day, I must go out later because otherwise it's bad if I'm inside all day. Fresh air is really good. I share that a lot and it makes a huge difference to your state. So I'd encourage you, if you feel low, to get outside. But don't make any big plans. I had no idea when I sat down on the sofa just to chill out what I was going to do 5 hours later. I'm a big planner, but actually just living in the moment. What did I need? How do I feel? It moved on through and I feel great. So I hope that is of some use and of some interest to you. Just allow yourself to feel what you feel. It's your body and your mind giving you messages about what's happening for you. And when you do listen, you have a much greater chance of getting to know yourself better, understanding what influences whether you have a good day or a low day or anything in between. If you would like to know more, feel free to message me. You can contact me on Instagram at BeYourBestJet or via my website, beyourbestjet.co.uk. I would love to hear from you. Take care, everybody.